Hey, this is Meredith Elliott Powell, and you know what time it is. Time for, well, my favorite show of the week, and that is Thrive, turning uncertainty into your greatest competitive advantage. Now, I've got a friend, a colleague, and somebody I really admire as my guest today, and that is a sales expert. I think he's a mindset expert and a real innovator, and that is Joe Dalton. And you are not going to want to miss this podcast because we're going to be talking about getting it wrong to get it right. Joe, welcome to the show. Super excited to have you here today.
Every time I speak to you or every time I see you online, you're pristine, perfect. It's look at me. I'm looking at myself and saying I need to get a haircut. So.
All right. So if you have not picked up the wonderful accent, Joe is coming to me today from Dublin, Ireland, and Joe's just over that way a couple months ago playing a little bit of golf, and I got to play true Irish golf. I had 1 or 2 days of incredible weather, and then I stood right out there in the pouring down rain and the wind down in Waterville, and just kept on playing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful part, and you're blessed that you can play golf because I podcast because I'm really rubbish at golf. So that's my outlet. I probably spend as much on podcasting as I do on my old days of golf gadgets. But it's great.
Anything to make you better.
Yeah. But I have to say, it's great being on your show. I'm a big fan, and I think everybody should listen to the advice that you give on a weekly basis as well.
Well, thank you. So, speaking of advice, you basically, I'm not sure when you went down the avenue of this new focus for you, and that is get it wrong to get it right. Now, I've got to say, when I was on your website and I read it, I was intrigued. I didn't know what it meant, but I was intrigued. So tell our audience a little bit about not only what get it wrong to get it right means, but why you were attracted to this. Because, before you were talking about change your mind, change your life, but you've shifted a bit into this area with a strong focus. What led you there? What is it about? And what can we gain from it?
Yeah, it's a great couple of questions. And yeah, I did start off with it was, change your mind, change your life, because I believed it was all about attitude. And I believed that, a lot of people wanted to be successful, but the frame of mind was not there. And as I meandered through the decades of being in business, I kind of look back, and as we all look back in our lives and go, oh my God, if I knew now what I knew then, life would be different. So what I started realizing was that all those things that we were getting wrong, in the end helped us get it right because it's a life journey.
Mhm.
And because of life and because of the new tools and techniques and more and more people wanting to be successful in business with the likes of AI and all the different platforms, still what we do today, 10 years ago or 20 years ago, is still the same when it comes to communication and language. And what you need to realize is that there's a starting point for everybody, and everybody wants to be heard. But the
Mhm.
real part that we need is to understand our values. The biggest question that everybody asks all the time is, what is my purpose? What am my purpose? But let's be truthful. We have many purposes in life, and they'll change as we get older. But the real part is our values. What do we value? What do we stand for? Because if you can find them internally, they will then produce what you can do externally. And it's also about meaning. That when we call it the why, but when
Yeah.
people really find their true meaning, they get that spark to drive forward and be successful. Now, there's one thing that media, social media, all the platforms, they make it look easy, you know, but people have to understand you have to work hard. You
Yeah.
have to really work hard. Because I've said this on your show before, if it was easy being an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
we have no employees and everybody would be self-employed. So
That's so true.
yeah, and I wrote an article there on LinkedIn, and I was saying, running a business is like sleeping like a baby. You wake up every 20 minutes screaming.
That's great. It's funny. I had somebody call me and ask me what I do, like why I'm so busy, why I work so much. And I really, I thought I'm going to take a breath before I answer that question. And I really came up with three reasons. One is I'm relevant. You have to be relevant in the marketplace. You have to be solving a problem that really matters to people. Just like the fact that I love that you have changed now to getting it wrong to get it right and focusing on something that is on the hearts and minds of consumers, your target market right now. So you have to be, you definitely have to be relevant. The second is you have to be qualified. You have to be good. You have to deliver a service that gets a result. Both of those are so. If I say I'm going to come in and help you grow sales, I literally have to be able to do that. But the third is the most important. And I said the third is I put it on top. And I think that it is more important than the other two, sadly, but it is true. And that is that I work my tail off. I work all the time. And I say that because I've been in the marketplace competing against people who aren't very relevant and who aren't very good at what they do, but they hustle like crazy. And hustling can outweigh your how good you are in the marketplace. And I think that is what people don't understand is that people who are successful work incredibly hard.
Yeah, I jokingly say that I do about 20 hours a week, and there is downtime, but there's hours and days that I work, and I
Hmm.
work long hours. And the reason why I do it is because I enjoy it.
Yes.
I enjoy it. And it's I try to tell people when they get into the sales process or into prospecting, it's like building a wall. In the beginning, you don't know what you're doing. You're trying to measure up the wall. You're putting the cement down. It's falling over. It's brain exhausting energy because you've never built a wall before. But if you keep building the wall, it gets better and faster and easier and quicker.
Right.
So everything that you're doing in prospecting, selling, and to grow your business, in the beginning, it's like anything. It takes time
Yeah.
and a lot of effort. But when you get into that flow stream, it becomes enjoyable because you know
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Right.
And everyone is, leads, leads, I want leads, I want leads, I want leads. But a lot of people get leads and they don't know what to do with them when they get the leads.
Right.
That's, how do I have this authentic conversation with the person to see if they will buy from me? And with technology and we seem to be getting, everything's getting faster and faster and faster. And I think that you need to slow down. And I think you need to be more authentic and have real conversations with people. Look at stuff belonging to them instead of just guessing, because that's what a lot of people are doing. And home in on them. Compliment someone. Tell them you're interested because people want to be heard.
Oh,
People
so
want to be valued. Give them the time to do that.
you could not be more accurate about that. In the face of uncertainty, in a world where it is so hard to be heard, people truly want to be heard. Joe, it was really interesting. I had one of the best sales conversations I've had in a long time. I don't know about you, but I feel like in with artificial intelligence and everything that is going on, I am getting more spam emails and more spam calls. And I am amazed that people really think this is going to work. I mean, I had somebody reach out to me on LinkedIn, said I should think about writing a book. Joe, I've written 9 books. The lack of, to use your words, authenticity in there. But I had I've got a podcast that I listen to about the economy, and it's sponsored by a financial investment firm. So I reached out because I like the guy who sponsors it is on there as a guest now and then. I reached out to him and I said, I'd just really like to talk to you about what you think is going to happen in the economy. So I set up the call for yesterday, and I was thinking about this later as I was riding my bike. He did that so well. He honestly got on that call with me and didn't try to sell me a thing. He answered every question I had. He gave me his thoughts and his opinions on the economy, didn't push anything. And then he set up another call with me. And I thought, he's bringing me along as he should be bringing me along. He understands that moving your investments is not, it's not a quick decision. It's not something I need to be comfortable with him. I need to trust him. I need to, those types of things. And in all honesty, that is a rare sales conversation in today's environment, because everybody is trying to treat sales like ordering a pizza. You dial a phone, you get the result, you collect the check and deliver the product. I just love to get your thoughts and opinions on that.
Andy Paul told me a story when I was on a show there. I think it was a couple of years ago, that someone reached out to him and asked, did he want to do podcasting? And he said, I'm a big podcaster. Did you not look at my profile? And the person says, I don't have time for that.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
So there's an illusion in sales that if you throw enough shit against the wall, excuse my language, but that's the expression, it sticks. And I disagree with that, because that's just throwing muck against it. I do believe that what we need to do is step back. What you do today will have an effect in 90 to 120 days. A lot of people believe now, because of technology, that everything is fast and seductive. Unfortunately, a lot of people are using AI as a tool to replace their brain. And in the end, that will do them damage. And I think that what you need to do is really sort of set back. And I use the example, I ask anybody, how many clients do you need in a year? If you need, we don't need a lot of clients. So if you need, say, 10, 20, 30, with the staff that you have, how many clients? And then work on that focus, or go, okay, with the staff I have, we can manage X. Then you put a strategy in to go, and how do we find the X clients? That could be 10 clients or 20 clients or 40, depending on the business, and then focus on that number. Where a lot of people just want to kind of reach out to thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. So email, spam email, everything, all you need to do is really find the person. It's truth. It's about language, and it's about influence and communication. And what you have to do is just hook them to kind of raise their hand and acknowledge you, and then you can get into a conversation with them. One of the things we're working on here, one of our campaigns is, and it's saying that marketing is not enough. And anybody believes that marketing is, they're missing it, because it's a communication game.
Right. So talk a little bit more about that it's a communication game. Talk a little bit more about what you mean by that, because obviously marketing creates the awareness, right?
Okay, so it's a communication game because it's what's being said externally and internally within your organization. Gone are the days that you used to just throw everything out as, marketing, plaster everything and hoping that someone comes in. But now it's about that language that you're using. You're actually looking, you're doing the researching, you're checking to see what research that you can get, the tweaks that you can make that to research, and you can go back and do more. So there's no such thing as a great marketer, there's a great researcher. Okay?
Yeah.
And what you need to do is you need to be very, very particular. And, it's psychology and science in the language that you're using in all your platforms to people, so they can then raise their eyebrows and understand that you're not just trying to sell them something, that you actually care about what they're doing. Because I said in the beginning that people want to be heard. People want to be valued. I was speaking to a Dr. Francis Valor, who was just telling me that there is a pandemic. He's a psychologist. That there's a anxiety pandemic going on over the last couple of years, and CEOs, C-suite executives, parents, everyone's going through this, and all they need to do is that energy that they have, they need to release it.
Okay.
And going
Mm,
back to getting it wrong to get it right is what we need to do is we talk to people. So you and me to help people with their sales. But
right.
we're more than that. We're like sitting on the board of directors with companies. We listen to their good points and we listen to problems that they're having because our decades of experience can help them. So
Hmm.
the communication is about giving them the confidence. And I really mean that. I'll say that again, giving a person the confidence to know that they're on the right road, to
Hmm.
know that they're doing the right thing, to know that they're home, that they're safe and they're enough.
When you're talking about an anxiety crisis, is it just that people are worried about the marketplace, about geopolitical tensions, about technology? Like, what is fueling that?
Could be ancestral,
Okay.
but the anxiety is a lot of people feel that anxiety is in the head, but it's
Okay.
actually in the body. So when
Okay.
you feel it here. And what you need to do is change that energy. So people are worried about their employees. They're worried about payroll. They're worried about what's the forecast for next year. They're concerned about what's going on in the economy. These could be small triggers within them that is causing that anxiety. And you know, people ask me, "Have you seen the news, or have you seen what's going on here?" And I say no.
Yeah.
And I said, I if I was to focus my attention on all the stuff that was going on externally, I'd be in the loony bin.
Right.
But all I can do is focus on what I need to do for my business and what I need to do to help my clients. So I'm not being distracted by all the external stuff because me looking at it on Twitter, it's not going to solve a problem. It's only just
Right.
going to upset me. So my energy is focused on how can we get our clients through 2024? How can we bring them into 2025? How can we go beyond when everyone else is falling off the cliff because they're worried about everything? We've got to focus, and a focus is to thrive.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question? Does it?
It really does. And I love, I think you have to so strike a balance there because I think in order to really help our clients, we have to understand what is going on in the marketplace, which can be challenging in today's world. I was just reading a book about Teddy Roosevelt here in the U.S., one of our former presidents, and the time. So I'm somewhere around the turn of the century, and they're talking about something called the yellow media. And it was a time when Pulitzer and Hertz here in the US would write inflammatory things in order to sell papers. And I think I think we have to be so careful as entrepreneurs and business owners because if you want to watch the news to stay up on current things, so much of that news is inflaming you. And while it may quote unquote be accurate, they're leaving out very important pieces of it to give you a really good concept of what's happening in the marketplace. So I think that, one of the biggest things I always tell my clients is let's write down everything that you're worried about. Like you said, anxiety's in the body. You got to get it out. And then divide that into what you can control and what you can't control, and focus your time and your energy on what you can control and truly forget about the rest. I think so much of what we're being fed is quote unquote yellow media, not a lie, but not the full story. And it can make you crazy and fuel your anxiety.
I was in broadcasting for many years,
Uh-huh.
and I learned one thing when I left broadcasting. You know, always remember what's being told and what's not being said.
Mm,
And everybody will speak their agenda.
yeah.
And you have to be somewhat grounded and very much kind of when you listen to everything, take it as a pinch of salt, especially that's coming on in the media because it's there to, I used to call it fear feeding. It pays for your pain. That's what it's trying to do. It's trying to hook you in. So with all the external things that are going on, all you need to do is focus on what can I do? What can I do now in this moment in time? What can I do to get the business moving forward? And I say to
Right.
people, if you're feeling that way, all you need to do is hit a big red button. I pretend there's a big red button on the desk and hit it, and it goes, makes a noise, and it goes, okay, you have a starting point from now. And whatever action you take now is start to solve your problems. And companies, we see companies online and they've got everything and they look brilliant and they're amazing. But when you speak to the people behind it, they have concerns. And I always say everyone is a prospect or a client until you speak to them and then do the valuation.
Right.
So what companies need to really focus on is themselves, the people around them, and the people that they're trying to work with as well. We're in the people business.
Completely. And, I think that technology makes us more in the people business. I think that the very fact that, I was at the grocery store and I was checking out and, I'm doing it all self-checkout. I'm so comfortable doing it now. It makes it more important that the person who is supporting the checkout be friendly or be interested the moment I have a problem, that somebody's there. I mean, that's the difference between, those are the difference of what's going to drive your customers back. How have you used technology to do the base things, the foundational things, the transactional things? And then how are you moving your people more into support and problem solving and help and service?
It's all about customer experience.
Yes. Yeah.
I made a conscious decision probably about a year ago not to use self-checkouts. And the reason being, I wanted to protect the people's jobs. So I would queue up and give it to the grocery person. So in Ireland, we have many stores that will have self-checkout, and I refuse to. And the reason as well, they're not, I laugh, like the manager would come over to me and go, would you like to use the checkout, the self-checkout? I says, are you going to pay me? And they look at me. It says, can I use the canteen? And they go, what? I says, yeah. And I says, it may be convenience, but, I'm buying these so I can help this person. I don't work for you. They look at me. But what I've seen is there's more and more people doing that.
Right.
Because
Right.
people are starting to realize that, convenience is great, but also there's that human connection as well.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
and with human connection and with people trying to do business and all the different touch points that they have, there's one thing that you need to understand. We're building a future. We're building a future for the next generation. And I always ask, how is that generation going to be?
That's a big question and a whole nother show, right? It is hard to believe, but we are about at the end of this show, and I always like to close with two questions. You can answer them any way you want to. How do people find out more about Joe Dalton and the work that you do, as well as what is your biggest piece of advice? We're recording this around end of November 2023, and 2024 definitely looks to be a very uncertain year. So as you look at and you think about entrepreneurs or your clients, what is your biggest piece of advice for people who want to thrive in an uncertain marketplace?
First, anyone can catch me on LinkedIn. It's joedalton.ie is my website, and I'm on LinkedIn all the time. LinkedIn is my platform that I communicate on. The biggest piece of advice that I can give people for 2024 is focus on your company, focus on you, and also get your head down and work. It's the more that you do, the better the results. And when everyone else is running around not sure, you just keep plowing ahead and you will be successful. graft, as we say, hustle or graft.
Hustle, 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 hustle. Well, Joe, it's been so fantastic to have you here today. Always love our conversations. We're so in sync with what we think and what we believe, and I enjoyed the conversation in the green room first as well. And thank you again for the audience. Thank you so much for joining us every week. This is a show where we are 100% committed to helping you understand everything that you need to know to turn all of this uncertainty into your greatest competitive advantage. We'll see you next week.